What's going on, guys? It's your boy, legit car reviewer. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to a way too early to be filming in the morning version of the car vlogs. So this is getting filmed at it's around about 7:15 in the morning. Just the usual commute to work. It's terrible, but that's what pays for this car. So I'm going to try and keep this video nice and short because A, I'm still quite tired, and B, thanks to some legend at soccer on the weekend, I've sustained an injury. Some bloke elbowed me in the ribs and cracked one of them, so driving is hard enough without the pain. So we'll try and keep the video to the point and nice and sweet. And on that note, we better cue the intro. Ooh. For some reason, every time I click record on this thing, I have to cough. Every time. So this week, I'm just going to give a quick little review of what I think about the Toyota 86. So having had this car for around about 6 months, might have even been a bit longer, but I feel like now I've got a pretty good idea of how the car drives, and sort of the pros and cons. This is for me personally that I can see in the car, so I think we're going to start off with the old positivitos. So the biggest pro for me has got to be the handling of the car. The car handles phenomenally. Like, it's pretty much like you're driving a go-kart around everywhere. If you like that sports car feeling of being real low to the, well, not real low, but fairly low to the ground compared to most other cars, and you got the, I think the wheel on the Toyota 86 is the smallest diameter possible the car manufacturers can make, I have a feeling. So you've got a real small wheel, and it allows you to, sort of throw it wherever you want. So the wheels that come on the car in terms of, assisting the car with its handling and that, don't do a lot of it, because essentially they're Prius tires, end of the day, with a different rim really. I think they got the same, like track as the Prius and stuff, but regardless, they've got a nicer tire on them. It's not like they're some toss away, like they're not a top end Michelin or something like that, but they're not terrible tires. One of the first things that I did with this car was put a set of wheels on it, obviously, and I went a lot wider in the rear, slightly narrower in the front. That's partially for like a stance sort of look, but that being rear wheel drive, you'll also want more grip on the rear. That way the rear hooks up and then the front can sort of drive through. Whoa, that's sunglare, bro. Damn. Oh well, we'll push on. You don't want to let me merge over, mate, so then you can just stay in the quick lane. That's fine, don't worry about it. Another pro of the car is obviously the looks. It just looks like a little sports car, which is essentially what it is, really. And for someone who can't obviously afford to go out and buy an R35 GTR, or doesn't particularly want to have an older model of car and go to, like, say, I don't know, like a Supra or S15 or something like that, the 86 is like pretty much the middle ground you're going to get, and there's plenty of upgrades that you can do to the motor, that in terms of like turbo kits, supercharger kits, that sort of stuff, and just tunes that are going to bring the power up in this thing and make it just even better to drive. I've spoken about this before, but the interior of the car is, in my opinion, one of the nicest interiors out of any production car out there. Now, it's so simple. Everything is right in your reach. You're not struggling over to turn up the radio or change the station or whatever. Like they've done in the 17 now, that they've got steering wheel controls, which make it even nicer. I'm not sure how I like the look of it, however, but in terms of controllability and stuff, it makes it a lot easier. And the dash as well, it's got a nice red. It hasn't got that faded, weird orangey looking color or like a green like you see in like Commodores and stuff like that. And it's a very nice little touch. Sticking inside, the seats of the car are awesome. They hug you quite nicely, and at the moment, having a cracked rib, it's actually working out quite well because I'm not sort of getting thrown around the car every time I want to go around a corner. So if you've got a broken rib, I'd recommend buying a Toyota 86.
At that point, brush them with barbecue sauce if you like. Don't do it earlier or the sugar in the sauce will burn.
In terms of space in the car, I'm not like freakishly tall, but I'm quite tall. I'm around 6 foot or so, I think, and like I fit in the car easily. Like with the seat all the way down, my head's not hitting the roof. Getting in and out sometimes is a bit, you know, how you going? You do almost. I have clipped my head a couple of times, but hey, if you don't mind feeling like a giraffe when you get out of the car, then this is the car for you, my friend. So there are a lot of pros with this car. I probably haven't covered them all, but we're going to jump over to a few of the cons that I've noticed over this past 6 months. So the first one is obviously the space in the car. If you're wanting to obviously carry more than, I want to say 3 people in the car, and you're sort of around the same height as I am or a little bit shorter, you're really going to be pushing, especially if you've got friends that are quite tall as well. The back seats are effectively useless unless you've got a really short friend. If you've got a short friend, you can stick them in the front and push that seat all the way forward, because there's quite a lot of leg space for the passenger, but yeah, not the 2 back passengers. So in terms of carrying other people, it's not really that practical. But hey, if you've just got you and your missus sitting in the car, then there is no dramas. Sticking on storage, the boot space of the car, like, it's not freakishly large, it's quite small. So if you wanted to carry, I feel like you can fit like a set of wheels in the car if you want to go out and do a track day, but like you're not going to be able to fit much else in it after that. So a little bit of a negative, but end of the day, I don't think this car is made or designed to be carrying around equipment that you'd be attempting to fit into a Land Rover. One thing that me personally wasn't a huge fan of, and I've changed in the car, is the stock shifter. I put a video up last week, me installing a likewise shifter into it, where I said knob something like 18 times. So we're gonna try and cut back on that. We're just gonna call it shifter. But ever since I've put that likewise shifter in, being quite a bit longer, it's made changing gears for me personally so much easier. And for someone who's I've only recently started driving manual, so this is the first manual car I've ever owned, and having that just longer throw and a little bit more leverage on changing gears, for me personally, I feel like it clicks in a lot easier. Ooh, I just farted. I mean, I'd recommend that to anyone if they have an 86 and they're starting off learning manual. Getting a longer shifter. You can get all these Super Jeep and stuff ones that are sort of that long, and even that'll help, you know, have a bit more throw to get it into the gear properly. I had troubles. I kept crunching gears because I'm a noob with that smaller shift knob, and it felt nice to click in. Like, it had a nice solid sort of click when it went into gear, and that was fine. But yeah, I just feel like a longer shift knob, I've done it, I've said it, on the car is going to be a bit nicer for anyone who's, you know, just beginning. One point a lot of people bring up about the 86 and BRZ, whatever, is that they're slow. Now, slow isn't the term I'd use, because like it's still quicker than like a Honda Jazz, like, or like a Morris Minor or something like that. Like, they're slow cars. This is a reasonably fast car, I guess you'd call it. So I think that sort of misconception of them being slow is that they're not a car that works on the bottom end. Like, they're quite luggish. Well, not luggish, but they don't have a lot of power down low. Once you get up to sort of 4,500, 5,000 RPM, that's when they sort of hear like a power band or something and they really start to pull, get a little bit of a kick. So I wouldn't say they're a slow car, but I wouldn't say they're a fast car. So that sort of gets chucked in the, I don't know, whatever a neutral basket is. So overall, awesome car. This is easily the best car that I've ever driven in terms of driving, and even handling. It's probably the best handling car I've driven. I mean, I haven't driven a lot of cars, but I've driven enough of this car to stand out above them all. Well guys, that's gonna do it for me today. Hopefully I didn't ramble on too much, and hopefully you got a good idea of some of the pros and some of the cons of the Toyota 86. They're just my personal views. If you have any pros and cons that you feel like I missed out on, leave a comment down below, and I'd love to see what you guys think, and I'd probably agree for the most part. If you did enjoy this video, guys, go ahead and give it the thumbs up, and if you haven't done so already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Click the subscribe button down below, or you know, that little box that's sitting in the bottom right hand corner, or the little button of my face at the end of the video. Go ahead and click that too. And guys, I'm gonna go to work now, and I'll see you next Thursday.